Have you ever sat quietly at your desk, staring at your bank statement, and feel the subtle tension of money slipping through your fingers? Not the panic of an unexpected bill, but the quiet unease that builds over months. The awareness that even though you're working, the margin between stress and stability feels razor thin. It's that whisper at the back of your mind that asks, will I ever reach a point where money works for me rather than the other way around? Most people assume retirement security begins with a six-figure salary or perfect timing in the market. They tell themselves that comfort in later years is something you stumble into or win by luck. But here's the quiet truth. It doesn't. My name is Rio, and for over a decade, I've studied the intersection of money, psychology, and human behavior. I've seen how small, consistent decisions applied over years compound quietly into life-altering freedom. I've watched people cross invisible thresholds, where money stops being a constant stressor and starts becoming a tool to design life deliberately. And today, I want to show you exactly how that can happen with a simple, disciplined approach using index funds. Here's the contrarian insight most people miss. Wealth, especially in retirement, doesn't require timing the market, chasing high returns, or waiting for a windfall. Comfort begins with predictable, consistent income streams that grow over time. The moment you achieve a threshold, let's say $4,500 a month from a well-constructed index fund portfolio, your decisions start to feel different. The weight of every choice shifts because your foundation supports you, quietly but decisively. The first time I saw that level of monthly dividends, it didn't feel monumental. Just a deposit showing up in my account, a modest number compared to the expenses I imagined. But I felt something I hadn't in years. A glimmer of control. That glimmer is subtle, almost imperceptible at first. It's not excitement, it's clarity. The awareness that your decisions, repeated consistently, have started working for you rather than against you. That's the invisible threshold most people never notice. But once crossed, life changes. Before reaching that point, fear dominates. Scarcity drives every decision. Minor financial stressors provoke intense reactions. You negotiate small expenses frantically while ignoring the bigger picture. Opportunities feel like risk, and choices are constrained by necessity rather than intention. But when consistent monthly income reaches a meaningful threshold, your mental bandwidth expands. Decisions no longer feel urgent, they feel optional. Emergencies are no longer emergencies, they are scenarios you can navigate calmly. Let's make this real. Imagine a portfolio of diversified index funds, carefully allocated for growth and stability, yielding roughly 5% annually. You contribute regularly, reinvesting dividends, and allow time to do its work. Start with $1 million, for instance. At a 5% yield, your annual dividends reach $50,000, which breaks down to just over $4,100 per month. Factor in reinvestment, strategic contributions, and compounding over the years, and reaching $4,500 monthly becomes not a gamble, but a predictable outcome. Here's the psychological shift. It's not the money itself that transforms your life. It's what it allows. The ability to say no without anxiety, to walk away from a deal without fear, to approach major decisions with patience and clarity. Small stressors shrink in significance, while your attention moves to the choices that truly scale your life: housing, career, investing, and meaningful personal growth. Before the threshold, life feels tactical. You're in survival mode. Every choice is reactionary. Coffee, lunches, minor purchases, they dominate your mental energy because scarcity feels urgent. Afterward, life scales. You think strategically. Big decisions outweigh small ones. Emergencies no longer derail you, they're just data points. Opportunity becomes actionable, not intimidating. Your identity shifts as well. You become someone who can trust discipline, exercise delayed gratification, and navigate complexity without anxiety. You stop obsessing over money. Instead, you control it. You plan for the long term. You weigh trade-offs carefully, without judgment or guilt. Each choice becomes a deliberate act that accelerates future freedom rather than undermining it. Career dynamics evolve alongside financial security. Walking away money resources that give you freedom to choose changes how negotiations play out. Offers, raises, and opportunities feel different because you're no longer constrained by necessity. Your posture, confidence, and ability to influence outcomes improve naturally, simply because your foundation supports you. But here's the caution. Reaching $4,500 a month in index fund dividends is not a reward. It's a foundation, a seed. Lifestyle inflation, the temptation of a bigger car, a larger apartment, or unnecessary luxuries can erode years of discipline if not managed carefully. Every dollar spent unnecessarily is a dollar that could have compounded into more freedom, more options, more security. Understanding the opportunity cost of every decision is essential. Over time, predictable income transforms from mere numbers into signals of freedom. You realize that your actions, consistent contributions, reinvestment, patience, have created a life where financial stress no longer dominates your decisions. Emergencies are manageable. Opportunities are actionable. You can make choices calmly rather than reactively. This is where simple math becomes psychologically powerful. Compounding may seem slow at first, almost imperceptible, but repeated consistently over months and years, it accelerates. The deposits that felt small initially snowball into meaningful monthly income. Time and consistency are more powerful than luck or speculation. They create momentum that eventually feels inevitable. And with that momentum comes a subtle but profound psychological transformation. Decisions scale from minor, reactive choices to strategic life-level planning. You begin to distinguish between what is urgent and what is important. Small stressors fade, replaced by clarity and control. Emergencies become manageable scenarios. Opportunities become actionable pathways. The identity shift is just as important as the financial one. You become someone who handles risk calmly, trusts patience, and exercises discipline naturally. Your future self is someone who navigates complexity without panic, makes high-stakes decisions deliberately, and approaches life with the confidence of someone who has built a stable foundation. The key is to start small. One contribution, one reinvestment. Observe the invisible threshold. Allow compounding, time, and discipline to work quietly. When the momentum begins, recognize it not as luck, not as a reward, but as the inevitable result of consistent, deliberate action. Because one day, that $4,500 monthly dividend income will no longer feel like numbers in a statement. It will feel like control. It will feel like freedom. It will feel like a life designed intentionally, with clarity and choice. And your future self, the version who can navigate complexity with calm and confidence, will quietly thank you for every contribution, every reinvestment, and every deliberate choice that built the foundation for a life of freedom. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next video.